to welcome each of you to the January 26, 2021 Code Enforcement and Nuisance Board special called video conference. Um, with that, if you'd call to order, Tabitha?
Deer,
Yes.
Simpson,
Here.
Dearbone,
Here.
Eggleton, Thomas,
Here.
Okay, at this time, I would like to swear in the staff that's on the video conference, please. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. Okay. With that, we have 2 months of minutes that we need to approve, the October 27th, 2020 minutes, and then the November the 24th, 2020 minutes. And there was Tabitha was kind enough to send out a revised version of the November 24, 2020 minutes. Do I hear a motion to accept as read?
So moved.
Eggleton, Dearbone, Deer,
Yes?
Simpson,
Which one are we looking at now? October, November? Which one are we working on now? I didn't hear. Because I
Oh,
wasn't.
What we're doing, Delane, is just approval of the minutes from October 27th and November 24th.
Okay, but I wasn't there for one of them.
All right. Well, let's see. We've got a motion on the floor. You can abstain if you'd like.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
abstain.
okay. Dearbone, Eggleton,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Hearing agenda, case number 1. This is, let's see, citation BG 127579, location 1329 College Street. Respondent Alexandria King, Officer Victoria Kahn. Is Miss King here?
Yes, sir.
Is Miss King here? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I need to swear you in, ma'am.
All right.
Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I promise to tell the truth and the whole truth.
There you go. Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Is Officer Kahn here?
Yes, it's Officer Connor. I am here.
Okay. Officer Kahn, I need to swear you in.
Okay.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. Officer Kahn.
Yes.
Tell us what we're looking at here.
Okay, on November 4th at about 9:13 in the morning, BGPD dispatch advised that someone had called in that there was an illegally parked vehicle at 1329 College Street. The complainant had stated that there was a red 2-door car. It was parked on the side of the road and half of it was in the roadway, and that it was obstructing traffic and cars were having to go around it in order to avoid striking it. I responded to 1329 College Street, and I observed a red Hyundai Accent parked facing the wrong way on the side of the road, and it was off the curb enough to be parked wrong, but not enough to obstruct the flow of traffic, so I didn't feel like it needed to be towed or anything. I ran the tag. Utilizing TLO, I attempted to find a phone number for the registered owner just to have them come and move it, but I was unable to get into contact with anyone after about 10 minutes of waiting for them to call me back. So I wrote them a parking citation for parking on the opposite direction, as well as they parked more than 18 inches away from the curb. And I placed the citation under their windshield, the windshield wiper.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir. That's
Okay,
about
thank
it.
you. All right. Ms. King, do you have a response?
I paid the part of the ticket that was about facing the opposite direction, which I'd seen other people do that before, so I never really realized that that was a rule, and that was my fault. But I do know that now. But I don't believe I was 18 inches away from the curb. I was only there for a short time, and I knew that as long as I was not in the road and in the actual parking spot, I would be fine. So I never realized that I would get wrote up for that.
Okay. I see here that you paid the $25 for parking in the opposite direction, and
Yes, sir.
that your appeal is on the 18 inches from the curb. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. Are you a student at WKU?
Yes, sir. I'm a freshman. This is my second semester here.
Okay. So you're a freshman then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. What are you studying?
I'm studying marketing and Spanish. I'm double majoring.
Okay. Have you learned anything by this?
Yes, sir, definitely.
What have you learned?
Well, I've never really I've never had a parking ticket before, so I've never really paid much attention to like facing directions and parking in certain structures that I shouldn't be parking in. And now I understand that we have those rules for a reason, and we have certain tags for a reason, just to make traffic flow easier. So
All right.
I've definitely learned from this.
Okay. Does anybody have a question for either one of these?
I have a question for Officer Connor. Did you actually measure the distance from the curb to the back tire?
I did not. No, I know that 18 inches is roughly from the tip of my middle finger to a little bit above my elbow. And so I did not measure it though. No, I just used that approximation.
Okay, because in looking at the photograph, it appears that it's much more than 18 inches.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
How long were you actually? You said you were parked there, and I get why. Yeah, how long did you say you were parked there for?
Probably about 10 minutes.
Okay, so you were kind of running in and running out, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, I make a motion. I have a motion to make that we uphold the citation and waive the fine.
Okay. Dear Thomas. Dear
Yes.
Simpson. Dearbone.
Yes.
Eggleton.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. King, watch where you park. There will be no
Yes,
fine.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Are y'all done with me as well?
Yes. You're good.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. On case number 2 and case number 3, it's the same property with 2 citations. So we're going to take them as one. Okay. So when you received your packet, you had the face of case number 2 and then face of case number 3 behind each other. But again, they're the same property, 2 different citations. So we're looking at case 2020-4395, citation 2020-10010.1. Okay. It's 352 Cherry Way. The owner is Miles and Sons Property, LLC. The respondent is Clay Miles. and the officer is Mo Hilliard. Is Clay Miles here? Is Mr. Miles with us? Okay. I'll ask one more time. Is Mr. Miles with us? Because there are 3 cases against these properties. Okay. All right. With that, these citations and fees stand.
What is the total, Mr. Chair, of the fines?
Pardon
What
me?
is the total?
It is, hold on just a minute. $2,408.10. That's for both properties, or the same property, 2 citations. Is that correct, Mo?
For all 3 of the citations that were appealed, it was $3,612.15.
Of all 3?
Mm-hmm.
Case 2, 3, and 4?
Mm-hmm.
Are we
Yeah.
taking up 4 also now? Or do we have to? go
Well,
through-
I had just calculated all 3 of them together because it's the same owner
Yeah, okay.
for
Well,
the
then
3.
that takes care of case 4 also.
Yeah.
With the owner not being here. So Tabitha, we'll go ahead and take that as one motion to,
You don't have to make a motion for it since they're not
don't?
here.
okay.
Mm-mm.
So the total is how much, just for our benefit?
$3,612.15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Mo, did you have anything to say? We can't hear you.
Did a lot of work on that for him not to.
Well, thank you for your time and your work putting
All
in
right,
to do for these cases. Okay, let's go to case number 5. And this is case 2020-5323, citation number 2020-12349. It is, the property is 1305 Lee Drive South. Owner, respondent, Sergio Castillo. Officer, James Heading. Is Mr. Castillo here? Do we have an interpreter here?
Well, so I understand a little bit, and some part I not understand my son close with me.
Okay, so Mr. Castillo, you're here then, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, I need to swear you in. Mr. Castillo, I need to swear you in. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, and then Officer James Heading. Mr. Heading, what do you have for us?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening. Yeah, I fielded some complaints reference to an auto repair zone in this residential area and also a junkyard business. As you can see from the slides that there are looks like waste-related, unoperable, wrecked vehicles and parts, and over the span of watching this property, I did see a number of different vehicles that either had car mark or no license plates or just different plates on that were appeared to be in the body shop or getting worked on. As we click through here, that first one right there, well, on this one too, you can see there's no license plate on that vehicle, but there's vehicles up there actively being worked on. There's a vehicle with its hood up on that one. So I ended up issuing 2 notice of violations, one of them reference to the auto business in the residential area, but also the waste related for the parks and the cars and the parking violations reference to the surface. I went out, let's see, last Friday, the 22nd, and I don't have those photos on here. These are, the latest I have on here is the 21st of January, but there's been new gravel put down, and so that would still be in violation with the new gravel. It would have to adhere to this zoning restrictions or the zoning requirements of the parking areas. But as you see, when we progress through some of these photos, there's December the 11th, 2021, and there's still quite a bit of material there. I did talk to Mr. Castillo, and we agreed on the January the 22nd of reinspection. However, there's still just too much out there. It's like still waste related, and I don't know about the auto repair, but it's still in a residential zone. It's got the I guess maintain the character of a residential area, but you can't have that commercial activity out there.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Castillo, what do you have to say about this, sir?
Well, so only I need to the station for cleaning it up. You know, I taken out 3 cars and clean up, put it out to rock and the way right now. So only I need to a week or 10 days for everything take it out. Now I got a new location for my business.
Mr. Hetty, has any of that been cleaned up back there? When was this taken? When was your last pictures taken?
Yes, sir. James, if we could scroll down, there will be January 21st, 21. And that's
Okay.
the latest photo, well, the 20th, I'm sorry, instead of the 21st. Here's one of the latest photos that I have on here. And maybe there's some progress to the backyard, but there's still probably half of those inoperable, wrecked, different waste-related vehicles in the backyard. So it's there has been some progress, but this is the latest one I have, and as you see, it's still a mess behind that house.
Okay. All right. All right, Mr. Castillo, do you have anything else to say?
Well, I only need time for to clean it out, everything good. So there's no problem for me. So
Any questions from our board?
no, everything is okay. So
Okay. Does anybody have a motion? Well, Mr. Castillo, how long this has been going on? This has been going on for about a couple of years. And it has still not been cleaned up. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay.
I gave you my first NOV well, it was, October of last year, so, yeah, I've had some complaints, but reference to, just gathering some of this information, different stuff, it was really, the 2020 is really when I focused on this property more, but 2018, I did have complaints reference to this property.
So, Mr. Castillo, you say this won't be a problem for you to clean it up and get it in compliance. It's not going to be a problem for you, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So, the grounds for his appeal said he needs an extension to clean up. So, how much longer? How many weeks do you need to finish it?
2 weeks.
And is that 2 weeks? Is that rain or shine, or is that 2 weeks depending on weather to get this done?
Well, so they got good weather, maybe 10 days. You know, there's a bad weather, so maybe 2 weeks is good.
Any other questions?
A question. Can we table this until the next meeting with the understanding that all of it will be cleaned up by that date?
I'm sure we can. I mean, we have done that. Obviously, we have done that before.
It looks like a pretty big job, but I would say I'll make a motion that we table it until the next meeting with the understanding that it's entirely cleaned up by that time, as evidenced by our inspectors.
I'll second that.
All right. Okay, so Jack, you want to make a motion to table it for whatever 30 days or whenever our next meeting is?
February 23rd.
Yeah, with the understanding that the entire thing will be cleaned up to codes, to meet codes.
Okay, Mr. Castillo, do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Did we have a second on that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, making sure. So,
Right.
okay, Thomas, Dearbone, Deer,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Eggleton,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Okay. All right. Case number 6. Case 2019-8982, citation 2019-10898. Properties 2809 Nashville Road. Owner is Scorpion Enterprises Incorporated. Respondent is Wade Trauber, and officer is James Hetty. Is Mr. Trauber here? Is Mr. Trauber with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I need to swear you in, sir. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Hetty?
Yes, sir. James, on this one, can you scroll down to, because I added, this is a case that actually we had this time last year, January, but I added to this PowerPoint. And so this presentation really started, it's kind of the same photo. Nothing has changed pretty much, but if we can scroll down, and then if any question, we can back up. But to start off with, it should be, let's see, about 2 more. Okay, right there. All right, on this one, I had a complaint reference to the inoperable vehicles and different stuff around this property on 2809 Nashville Road. And like we spoke last January, this property has a binding element that has been agreed upon and approved. And within that binding element, it has some requirements. And one of some of the requirements is for the inoperable vehicles or inoperable equipment or salvage material, it's got to be clean and orderly. Different things that have to be met, and this property is in violation of that binding element. When I look back through the video from last January, there's a timeline right there. A couple of things that popped out at me, and it was like that 1450. Mr. Trauber advised he'd go ahead and move these vehicles, and then 1742 advised they're all going to be gone. And at 2234, just a statement that since 2011, the city has received 21 complaints reference to this property. And then, of course, 2240, the board advised, clean it up, made a motion to uphold the citation, and again advised clean up. But my photos will show that it's still the same. Nothing has been updated reference to any vehicles have been moved or removed from the property. There's even that now, there's actually a chain link fence that's been pushed over and it's in disrepair. So there's different things that it's not maintained in an orderly or clean condition. It's in violation of the binding element. But James, can you scroll down through some of the photos so that the board can see? This right here is October the 9th, 2020, and there's vehicles that are unregistered, but there's, some that's just inoperable. They've been in the same area for the time. That one green vehicle up there in the front has a flat tire in the front. So they're in different disrepair. There's the chain link fence that I was referring to that's pretty much tore down. And that's in October. This was these photos right here are starting in January 20th. I went back out, and as you can tell, those vehicles are still the same place as where they were the last meeting. There's the flat tire on that one. I just zoomed in a little bit.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Hetty?
No, sir.
All
Mr.
right.
Chairman, this is
Yeah.
David Broderick. I do want to say one thing. What we're deciding tonight is what's taken place since January 28th, 2020.
Okay.
So any evidence, statements would have to be after that date. We made a decision on January 28th, 2020. It was not appealed. The citation was upheld. There was a fine involved. So we want to deal only with what's happened since that time.
So we won't address anything past January 28th, 2020.
No, before.
Before.
Anything before January 28th, 2020 is not something we need to be talking about tonight because it's
Okay.
already decided.
Okay, yes. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Trauber.
Well, the January 28th meeting, I come with all the citations that I've had since 2011, and how each citation I was found in compliance after I met all the, because it never was just the vehicles, but I never moved the vehicles because I'm not in violation of my zoning. Because everybody keeps coming out there thinking that I'm zoned commercial property, which I'm zoned heavy industry. And we went through all this a year ago, and then Randy Deere took a motion to uphold the $100 citation, and everybody voted aye and passed it. And uh, when you said citation imposed, I asked without, because by the time that we had got to the appeal, I had moved a bunch of vehicles that he had pictures of that he didn't show this time. But and that flat tire, I go out there once a month and air those tires up. So I mean, and those vehicles are not inoperable. They're not licensed, but they are complete. They are not. I can start everything up, fresh battery and starter fluid. And I said that I would try to get them moved, and I seen where you quoted me with David Cosby, but I can't get David out, and he just sold his business, and he said we're going to get right on that. He said first chance he gets. So, but when you upheld the citation, because the whole thing was Mr. Hetty was trying to charge me with the property. The violation was the property will not be used for a junkyard and automobile towing line, which it's not. Those are all intact, and commercial storage shall not include salvage, and it's not commercial storage. They're all mine. And so when you upheld the citation, and I asked, I said, without giving me a chance to complete, and I said, even though I'm not in violation of my zoning, and Mr. Deere, you said I've been in Bowling Green film business for quite some time, and it costs to do business, and y'all had to eat too. It was your exact words. And then Mr. Hetty said, well, he still got to put up a fence because that's what he originally tried to get me to do back. That was 12/10/2019 when the citation that I appealed. And so, but you asked him, did he have anything else? And he said, yeah, he still got to put up a fence. And you said that was a moot point. Because that's like with every citation that everybody come out there with, they come out there thinking I was commercial property. And that was always at the top of the list, was moving them two vehicles. And those vehicles have never moved because I don't know when that was taken, but I don't. If I see that tire getting low, I'll go out there and air it up. So
let me ask
again, I'm within my zoning rights, and I didn't contest the $100 because I didn't see how I could argue with that. You know, I mean, but I did get a copy of the DVD just to keep for my just to have, because I had never had an explanation before. But I'm not in violation of my zoning, and I don't know why this keeps coming up. So I thought we put it to rest a year ago.
This is Jack. Counselor, what is the definition of?
Am I still on?
No, this is Jack Thomas. What is the definition of junkyard or automobile towing lot as specified in the binding element?
Hello?
Yeah. Mr. Tom, Dr. Thomas, the binding elements simply say, and binding elements go with the property. That's something that was agreed to when the property was rezoned. It attaches to the property unless you go back to planning and zoning and ask to change it. By very definition, a commercial lot would mean vehicles that you're not using for your own transportation. Obviously, these are not licensed vehicles. They may be operable, but I think the issue is it looks like they're there for sale.
No.
Mr. Hetty, let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
In the binding elements, and I don't have them before me, they're not up on the screen. Doesn't it say, what does it say on the binding elements?
It does, and I think that's the misunderstanding. This is a commercial business, so that property is commercial. So with that commercial, he's having this stuff stored. It might be his private stuff, but he can't store private stuff on a commercial property like that with this binding element. It says, which, James, if we can scroll back up to,
It's not
I have a
commercial.
part of the binding element where everybody could read it. I don't know if James can hear me, but up the PowerPoint where it first started, probably, I don't know, 10 more slides up. Yeah, right there. You can see, it says the commercial storage shall not include salvage material, inoperable vehicles, or inoperable equipment. And so that is a commercial property. It's used, it's a business. He's operating a business on that. It's not a residential or a private, it's commercial. So I think that's where the misunderstanding is coming.
It's not. It's industrial. It's not commercial. BGMU will not run three-phase electric to a commercial piece of property, only to industrial. That property has always been industrial. I have three-phase electric.
Well, I think the point, sir, is that you have binding elements that go with your zone change, and they say you will not take certain steps, which includes vehicles that are inoperable.
What zone change?
When you got it rezoned from whatever it was to industrial.
Yeah, these binding elements were signed in 1989.
It's always been industrial.
So that's a binding element, is the agreement and approval of what will take place on that property. So this binding element was recorded and signed and adopted on October the 5th of 1989. So with a commercial business, you've got storage out there it's not maintaining this binding element.
It does not say commercial business. It says commercial storage. Both parts of this, these three. And it's not commercial storage. It says the property is used for commercial storage. It's not commercial, it's private storage.
Now it's a private.
And the commercial storage should not include salvage materials, inoperable automobiles, or inoperable equipment.
Yes, sir.
It's not commercial. And I can make them all run. There's no parts missing off of any of them.
Yes, sir. The binding element is for commercial, and that's a commercial property.
And this is what we went over a year ago. No, it's not. You check with BGMU. They will not run three-phase electric to a piece of commercial property. Has to be industrial.
Mr. Trover, the issue is not what Bowling Green Municipal Utilities will do, because I believe your property is zoned industrial. But when it was zoned, to get it zoned, you or whoever you bought the property from made commitments called binding elements. And these are the commitments that you are subject to.
That's correct, and I'll read a little bit on this binding elements. It says, the foregoing binding elements shall be binding upon the owner, his heirs, successors, personal representatives, assigns the planning commission and the legislative body of Bowling Green and Warren County, Kentucky as the date of adoption, unless otherwise amended pursuant to Article, looks like 23 of the zoning ordinance resolution. So that these binding elements were adopted and agreed upon and signed off on. So you have to follow these are binding elements for that property. They follow the owner, the heirs, the successors until they're amended.
I have a question.
Oh,
Mr.
okay,
Hetty.
and
I have a question. Mr. Hetty, has,
Yes, sir.
since the 28th of January 2020, has this property been cleaned up has anything been done in a positive fashion to clean up this property?
No, sir, it still looks the same as it did.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
can I ask a question now?
Sure.
Okay, what we're looking at here now, these are my binding elements, book 615, page 383. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay, it says this property will not be used for a junkyard or an automobile towing lot. It is not being used for that. It says in the event that this property is used for commercial storage, it will be fenced and maintained in a clean and open manner. It's not commercial storage, so that doesn't apply neither. So, and then the following, the commercial storage shall not include salvage materials, inoperable automobiles, or inoperable equipment. They are all intact. I can start every one of them.
Yes, sir.
Those
It's
two
considered
boxes
a-
that are sitting out front, I'm waiting for my grandson's father and grandfather on his other side to come and get them.
It is considered a commercial property.
And David called me to move them to the back for me, but he just sold his business, but he did keep his rollback, and he just told me.
Let me ask y'all, excuse me a minute. Let me ask another question. Counselor, if you have a
I didn't
vehicle,
catch that.
if you have a vehicle and the vehicle is non-licensed or non-insured, is
What
it
is that?
Inoperable means that it is licensed. I mean, operable means it's licensed. It's capable of being driven on the
That's
highway.
right.
My
Okay.
understanding is none of these can be.
Thank you, sir. Any other question?
This is Thomas again. I just looked up the word commercial. It says commercial means involving or relating to the buying of goods. So it's pretty broad.
I have a question, I guess, as a follow-up to that. The primary business conducted on this property is the sale of alcohol. Is that correct? Mr. Trauber?
Yes, ma'am.
The primary business?
Yes,
on this
ma'am.
property? Okay.
That's correct.
The building
That's
behind
correct.
the actual liquor store, is that used for storage of alcohol for sale?
There's like 3 buildings connected there. Partly.
Okay, so the property is used for commercial storage.
Well, what would be commercial storage?
You're storing a product that you are selling.
Well, that I don't think that's my definition of commercial storage. Commercial storage would be storing something for a fee for somebody. I think that's the definition of commercial storage. Charging somebody to store something.
So you look at it more like a storage facility, like if you put some stuff in a storage facility, that's more of your definition of commercial storage as opposed to storing your product there that you will sell at some point. Am I correct?
Yeah, I do not believe my products are commercial storage. I mean, because God, the tax that I pay on what I have in there at $12.31 each year is unbelievable. The property taxes that I pay, and now that's that, and I do not believe in these binding elements. That's what commercial storage is. Commercial storage would be like a towing lot when somebody pulls in a car and then they put a towing fee on it, plus they charge daily for however long it's there. That's commercial storage.
Mr. Trauber, this is Thomas again. What's preventing you from moving these vehicles?
Like I said, David Causey is a friend of mine, and he works as hard as I do. But he just sold his business, and he just told me because he, every time that he had any free time was only during bad weather. And so now that he has sold his business, he just told me this past weekend, we're going to get right on that. So, and I was like, well, I just need those two moves. And so, I mean, that's, like I said, the white Dodge in the back, that's my son's. The enclosed trailer, I'm converting into a vending trailer to sell barbecue out of. I've got 8 kids and 7 grandchildren. I'm doing the best I can to provide for mine. And like I said, I thought we put this to rest a year ago, when you said that, when I was in violation of my zoning, because we went through this last year. And then, and then when I questioned you about it and you said, well, we got to eat too. I was like, oh, okay. So,
Sir,
but I thought this put
Mr. Trauber,
because
Mr. Trauber,
that's what happened every time
excuse me,
somebody come
sir.
out there with all these citations.
Mr. Trauber,
I was always found in compliance until the next complaint. And the complaints are coming from across the street at that moment. I've got open requests for every one.
Mr. Trauber,
Yes,
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. First of all, in our notes here, it says Mr. Deere told him at the meeting that he was not in violation of binding elements.
Hello?
Mr. Trauber, I want you to listen to what I'm getting ready to tell you. Sir, I did not say that.
Yes,
I have
sir.
been through the meeting of the minutes. I've watched the video. That did not happen. I did not say anything to you about we have to eat also. I have no idea. I've never talked to you. I was on the bench last year when you and I had this conversation and you were the respondent. So therefore, let's move on. Any other questions?
Can I make
Does
a
the board
motion?
have any other questions?
This is Thomas. Can I make a
Can I
motion?
get it? Can I get a 30-day?
Go ahead.
Can I get a 30-day extension?
I'm sorry, sir. What did you say?
Hello? I said the what I promised to move was those 2 Blazers. And if I have to pay somebody, which David said he was going to get on it. So if I can have those 2 gone, and he brought up about the fence, there was 2 vehicles at 2 different times that run through those fences. And I'm waiting on the insurance check. Because the one fence is like $3,000. And I mean, and that's they also ran over my smoker and my convertible car, and then they wrapped around the building. And so, I mean, I'll get that fixed just as soon as they send me the check. I might have to sue them because it's getting into the time that a year's about to approach.
Mr. Hetty, how many vehicles are you questioning?
Yes, sir. It's,
But I mean,
with the commercial business, it's not just the two front ones. It's mixing private with this commercial. It is a commercial business. You can't have these inoperable vehicles. So there's one on the side via that photo, but those other vehicles right there, the white one, the bus, that darker one that's facing us, that one. So there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 half dozen vehicles right there that do not belong with the commercial business.
Whose trailer is that?
mine, both of them.
And all those weeds, that's your
Well,
lot?
actually, somebody stole that trailer right there. I don't own that no more. Somebody stole it.
Any more questions from the board? We need to address this. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, Thomas, I'll make a motion to uphold the citation and fine in the amount of $200.
I second that.
Simpson, Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Eggleton,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I need to know how to appeal this, or do I just bring suit or whatever?
Mr. Trauber, you have 30 days from this decision in which to appeal it to district court. If you'll go to the district court clerk's office, that's where you have to file it. At the courthouse.
District court's office? I'll
Yes.
sure do that.
Okay.
And
It's
I'll have my
1001.
copy of the DVD word that
Yeah.
you said you never said.
You have a right to file an appeal. Yes, sir.
It's coming.
All right. Thank you, sir, for your time. All right, board, we've got new business. Let's see here. Any old business? Any old business? New business? I'd like to bring this up. As much as I love this job as chair of this committee and love each of you, I'm about over it. This is about the second or third year that I've done this. And it's about time for, I'd like to make a change, and I'd like to nominate Ryan as chair of the committee and Miss Eggleton as the vice chair.
Second.
That one.
okay.
So you guys don't get
wait,
any,
what?
now you don't get any of that.
Oh,
Oh, I appreciate your confidence in me as vice chair, which means I would serve as chair in Ryan's absence. In my short tenure on this committee, I don't feel as confident about serving as in the acting chair's position as perhaps some more experienced committee members.
this is
Well,
OJT.
Frida,
What,
I will.
is Ryan still on?
I will
Yeah, I'm
tell you,
here. I'm here.
Frida, you don't have any, you won't have any problem obtaining help from this committee. Trust me. We'll help you do that if that occurs.
Frida, we've all gone the same way. Kind of cold turkey, 3 or 4 months, then lo and behold, we're there. And besides, you're a lot better looking than everybody else.
I don't
Yes.
think the complainants have any concern about that.
So with that being said,
See,
I make a
I've
motion
got
that
a
we do
motion
that.
in a second. Yeah, I've already got a motion in a second on
Okay.
that. So, Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Abstain.
Eggleton.
A reluctant yes.
Okay. Thomas.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Let's see. Mr. Broderick, do we need to go in closed session to discuss previous cases for a minute?
Just a minute, just to update you,
Okay.
if we could, and then it won't
That'd
be
be
long.
great. That'd be good. So I make a motion that we go into closed session.
Second.
Second.
Second. Oh,
Okay.
Third,
Simpson. I
fourth.
got Simpson. Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
yes.
Eggleton,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Okay.
Folks, and Frida